Let's go. Fear the turtle. One, two, three, team.
Every single time we step out on the floor, we go show them how Maryland basketball is. You know, every year, every team, you define yourself.
I got one more of these. Okay.
One, two, three, get up! Harp stepped out. She collapsed to the floor. Coach Floyd heard a pop, and I think we instantly knew that it was going to be bad.
This is where the tear is right here. You can see the little discoloration right there.
It was a loud, like, resounding pop in the gym. I've never heard of anything like that before.
It's the cruel part of the sport is the injuries.
I was thinking about Harp, you know, when she got hurt, whatever, how everybody's like, we lost somebody. So I just thought back to when I went to Nationals. And we lost our second leading scorer. She had mono, and she came to play. And I'm like, yo, we're not going to win Nationals, whatever. And then we lost our post player who sprained her ankle, so we was down to like 7 people. Then our point guard sprained her ankle, so we was like 6.5 people for Nationals. And we still won, so because we was together. So if we together, we can do anything. All right. It's hard to replace Hart, but I think we did our best. And at halftime, when I guess I had 20, whatever, she was like, yeah, get 40, 20 for you, 20 for me.
And again, let this be a lesson that you didn't have to lose the game to learn. We can't relax. You look up, you think you have a 15-point cushion. Let me tell you something. When you go on the road and you go play at Virginia Tech, if you don't have a 10-point cushion, you're not even when you get out there. So you can't relax when you get any kind of leads.
On the road, all you have is you and your team, you know, like you don't have the fan support, you know, so you don't have your 6-man.
You have a lot of like downtime where you're just sitting there not doing anything, whereas at home you can be doing computer, friends, you know, walk around, stuff like you always have something to do because it's like your environment.
Hang out, just chill.
I mean, you don't have family, your sleep routine changes. I mean, you're not in your own bed. I mean, just you have to wake up earlier to get to certain things because you're not right at home.
It's tough to play on the road, but you know, I mean, that's life. That's basketball. They can't all be here.
You grow closer like this throughout the season period, but on the road, I mean, it's almost like mandatory time, you know, that you're spending with the team. Because it's not like you can just go off and do whatever you want to do, you know.
Are we taking a picture?
Yeah, and it's just a great bonding experience. You know, you get to hang out with the coaches in the real relaxed settings, like going out to eat and stuff, and going to movies. So it's a lot of fun. Find out more about the teammates. I mean, every road trip you room with a different roommate. You get to know like what they like to do in their pastimes and who they like to hang out with and what they like to eat for dinner and appetizer and dessert and
You get to know like all the quirks about people, so it's pretty fun.
Oh yeah, I mean, I like that.
I mean, you eat well, you know. They take us to movies and things like that, you know. I mean, they try to make sure all our free time, you know, we get to do things that, you know, that we would enjoy doing, you know. So, I mean, they take care of us on the road. I mean, they take care of us, period. So, I can't complain.
How different is conference play, this part of the schedule?
It's different for every conference, but I think because we're in the ACC, it's tough because every single player can play and provide something on every team.
Well, you can't take a night off, and every game, you know, just the smallest little detail can either help you win the game or can cost you the game.
Everybody goes down to the wire with everybody, and I think that, you know, if you're playing the best teams in the country, then it's always going to be hard.
So you really have to fine-tune it as a team in terms of your scouting reports, in terms of what you go on and do on the court. And, you know, but at the same time, it's intense, it's exciting, and this is, you know, playing at the highest level in this conference.
It's tough on the road, period, but I mean, I just think this team is so special.
People are probably going to start counting us out, you know, losing Laura Harper. We knew, I mean, like, we would just have to mesh in so many different ways if we were going to continue to be successful without her.
Such a competitive conference. That's why you know, I came here to coach in it. That's why these players come here to play in it. Every game, you're challenged from top to bottom, and now with the addition of the 3 new teams, I mean, it's made it one of the most premier conferences out there in the country. It's just it's a ton of fun.
As a coach, I think she's very demanding of her players, but yet also is commands their respect too, and has a rapport with them. Not necessarily trying to be their best friend. I don't think she's trying to be their best friend, but I feel like she relates very well to them. And I think one of my favorite stories about her was her first year here, and the players were telling me how, you know, she let them use a straightening iron on her hair because they thought her hair was too curly and she needed, you know, straighter hair. And so she's like, you couldn't imagine, like, another coach, some of the older coaches in women's basketball ever allowing their players to, but she seems to be at the age where she's fine with that, she's comfortable with that, she's her own self and doesn't have to prove to her players that she's the boss, and I think they really like her and enjoy playing for her.
I wouldn't quite call you an ACC veteran yet, especially the old ACC, but this year it's different with the expansion. Anything noticeably different?
Well, we've been fortunate with both Miami and Virginia Tech coming into the league because we played both of them last year. Virginia Tech in our non-conference schedule, and then Miami in the NCAA tournament. So we actually probably had a head start compared to the other teams in the league just because we knew their style of play and their personnel.
Mm-hmm. Why is Virginia Tech such a tough place to play?
I think it's, you know, even a tougher environment than going to Duke just because of their fans and the crowd noise. The atmosphere when you go into their Coliseum and play, it feels like their fans are right on top of you. So it's really, you know, and for us to be able to open up our first conference game on the road at Virginia Tech with such a young squad, so many freshmen and sophomores, it definitely was an interesting challenge for us.
1, 2, 3, game time!
Just terrific performances here at home. The Terps without the leading rebounder in the ACC, Laura Harper, who went down last week with the Achilles injury. She is out for the season. There is Jade Perry, the freshman from Central City, Kentucky, who all of a sudden her role has increased tremendously for the Terps. And third-year head coach Brenda Fries has done a masterful job of turning programs around before she arrived at College Park, and now it looks like more good things to come in her career.
How frustrating is it when I believe at the time Virginia Tech had the league's leading three-point shooter, and you're watching her come free and just knocking them down?
It's extremely frustrating when you have a scout put together and you feel like your team is capable of executing that scout, and then you get out on the floor and for whatever reason, a lack of timing or rhythm, or Virginia Tech just being a little bit more aggressive that day, and we didn't execute the game plan the way we wanted to, and it is, you know she's a three-point shooter, you know we have to get there, and we just don't do it.
Maryland actually has only one field goal, Beth, as we said. They got 2 free throws. Mason, nobody picks up the ball, and Mason lights it up for another one.
I think defensively they had some lapses, which were probably uncharacteristic, because being at shoot-around and knowing the game plan was put together and how they wanted to do it, they didn't execute.
And, I think you definitely have to understand that anytime you go on the road in the ACC, it's going to be difficult, and especially when you're going down to Blacksburg. And you've got to be able to come out and play from the tip, which unfortunately we weren't able to do in that game.
17th ranked Maryland in trouble here at Virginia Tech.
Is it any different playing as a ranked team, and is your team ready for that?
I think this team is learning to adapt to it. You always have a target, you have a bullseye on your back, and every team is coming after you. And I do think this team is learning how to accept that and understand it, because we were always the underdog. We were always the one sneaking up on people, and now we're not doing that anymore. We're the people that are being hunted, so to speak, and with such a young squad, I think that's something that they've had to kind of get adjusted to.
This is Mason with the ball. There's another on-ball screen, and again, Smith goes underneath it, and the triple for Mason. This is the first ACC game for Virginia Tech as they joined the conference this year. Flores knocks it down. Orly off the bench with 6. Norris knocks down the jumper. Orly now with 8 points.
Who would have thought? I don't think most people realize that Orly actually had broken a bone in her hand before the start of that game, and goes out and has one of the best games she's had in her career since she's been here, and just showed how gritty and tough Orly is, and really knew that she needed to stand up and really come out and contribute and give as much as she could for this team, and saw great things from her. Charmaine Carr coming off the bench really gave us a spark. And we're going to have that in order to be successful from all of our players when they're called upon on the bench.
And Orly Norris getting some time and making the most of it.
We're doing a feature story on Orly for this week's show. What do we need to know about Orly?
Oh, Orly. Whew, that's a basket case. No, I'm just joking. Orly is a very sweet person, and whenever she speaks to you, she always speaks, you can tell it's very sincere from the heart, and she's also tough to work through sprained ankles after sprained ankles and broken hands.
Number 44, Orly Nerez.
I came here in '96 the first time, and I just loved it. So I was like, if I have the opportunity to go there and play and study, it would be great.
And how did you pick Maryland?
That's a long story. I just talked to coaches here, and I was first supposed to go to JW, but it didn't work. So I don't know, the coaches talked to each other, and I ended up here.
I had a chance to see her maybe 6 years ago over in France. It's a summer event, and things ended up that she was looking for a place to come play, and this was the place she chose.
Fun story when Orly came in, our first team meeting as a freshman, and she spoke very little English. I mean, it was broken, and I mean, she really had to focus when people were talking.
When I came here, I thought I could speak English, but when I was here, in the first month, I was like, oh my God, I cannot speak English. I don't understand anything.
We had our hour-and-a-half team meeting, the first one, and Corliss came in and really was fired up, and talking. Our strength coach Corliss was talking about how tough it was going to be, and they better be ready to play, and basically how brutal her strength and conditioning program was going to be. And we went through with the meetings, and we followed up with academics and our practice plans and all that. And when we wrapped up, she walked up to my assistant coach Jeff Walls, Orly did, and said, I don't know what all was said. I just know that on Monday I'm going to die. And I think that kind of sums up with Orly, like how far she's come.
Big difference here is it's much more physical than in Europe.
Work, Orly, work, Orly.
But I've played with older people, more experienced, and I played like the international competition, so I'm not, like the level is different because it's more physical.
Orly is an extremely hard worker. She comes to practice every day and gives us a great effort. She's just a great kid.
I bruise a lot. Like I just easily, like during summertime when we're off, I'm really happy in our skirts every day because I know that I don't have bruises on my legs. But I mean, we know like it's part of basketball. Like if you get hurt every day, pretty much. So I mean, during the season, we just don't show our legs.
It's just amazing to me when you can come in your first semester and speak very little English and achieve the kind of success that she did in the classroom. She had one of our top 2 GPAs on the team in her first semester when she got here, and she continues to build on that in the classroom. It's extremely important to her.
And you did something that I would say most coaches wouldn't do. You let her miss a game to go home for Christmas.
Well, I thought that was important. I mean, here's a young lady who sacrifices so many things for us and lives so far away from her family. Last Christmas wasn't able to go home. We didn't have enough days in the schedule. And I can't imagine what that would be like as a young person.
How long were you home for? How long were you back in France for?
Like 6 days. It was a lot of fun. It was great.
Merry Christmas.
So my parents, mom, dad, sisters, my niece.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had like dinner like on the 24th.
Mm-hmm.
Christmas Eve, we had dinner and we exchanged presents. But Jessie, my dog.
You miss your dog?
Yeah, I miss her.
When you're standing during the U.S. national anthem, what's going through your head?
Well, actually, Corliss, usually she sings the French national anthem.
Corliss does?
Yeah.
She knows it.
Like,
I just give Orly a shout out during our national anthem. At the end, I give her a little shout out.
Makes her feel
at home. Exactly. She always thanks me, so.
How would you say fear the turtle in French?
Craindre la tortue.
One of the top newcomers in the ACC is leading the conference in rebounding. Newman looking for 3, and it's good.
You're looking at 2 players right there going head-to-head that are going to make plays down the stretch.
Oh, big play from Shea Duran off the window.
It's really on us, like how we play, how much energy we bring, how together we play, and I definitely think that if we bring that every day, I don't question us losing on the road, here, it doesn't matter.
Good patience here by Tech. And Tech's gone back to their screens on the ball again, but again, they're going to look to go back inside the ball. Oh, what a crossover by Harvey Kaplan! And then the finish.
That's a tough place to play.
Mm-hmm.
It really is.
The first game in the ACC is a win for Virginia Tech as they knock off 17th ranked Maryland.
How do you keep your swagger?
Believing in yourselves, believing in each other, believing that through hard work, great things are going to happen. And I think just constantly reinstilling from a coach's end as well as from a player's end, I see them giving and receiving a lot of confidence with each other. And, it's a talented team and so many talented players. And we've got to continue to keep believing in that and keep building on it.
The young players understand you got to come in and play hard for 40 minutes in the ACC as opposed to high school, and they could probably coast.
I think our young players are still learning that you do have to play in the ACC for 40 minutes, and I think that's why you're going to see us go through some highs and lows with this team, because it's for any freshman, you hit the 1st of February, and their high school season was pretty much over with, and when you look at a long season for us, hopefully going deep into March, it's a long season, so it is trying to get them to understand at this level you have to bring it every night for 40 minutes.
Smith with the head up in transition to Langhorne for the layup.
How about the hands of Langhorne to catch that in traffic and finish?
I mean, we were fortunate to have a bye that week after Virginia Tech, so we really could collect ourselves, go through where we felt we needed to improve from the Virginia Tech game, and then be able to move forward and put our focus on North Carolina and having so much time to get ready for them. I mean, we were definitely more than prepared. I think it made a big difference, obviously, playing at home, tremendous home environment that we had, a great crowd that night. And, for North Carolina, it was their first game, first ACC game on the road. So I think everybody sees how tough it is in this conference anytime you go out and play.